Today we're going to be testing this plastic minnow trap and seeing how it does. Right here, this thing opens just like this with these little plastic pieces. See right there? And we got some dog food down in there because we know how well that works. One thing about it is the holes in this thing are smaller than the metal minnow trap, so the ones we catch might not be as big as normal. Clip this thing shut. Instead of setting this minnow trap in a creek, we're actually going to be setting it in our pond. There's a lot of minnows in here, and there's also a chance of catching some green sunfish or maybe even some little bluegill. That is, if these holes are big enough for that. What'd you find? All right, we're going to throw our trap out in here. All right, right off the bat, we already have a problem. This thing won't sink to the bottom. It wants to float on top. And for what I'm doing, I need it to set down on the bottom. Got a rock. All right, that should take care of the floating problem. All right, that should definitely take care of the floating problem, but now it's kind of hefty and I hope it don't tear up my bank line or the plastic. That's better right there. All right, we got our plastic minnow trap set in the water there. Got it tied off right here to this stick with some bank line. And now that we got a rock to make it sink to the bottom, we'll come back tomorrow and see what happens. I'll catch y'all then. All right, boys, it's 2 days later, and we're down here to the pond to check the minnow trap that's made out of plastic. Now, I did forget about the trap yesterday, so we weren't able to come down here and check it, but like I said, it's been 2 days, and we're down here to see how we did. There it is, still right where we threw it. My ducks are down here. Wow, it looks like we caught a ton in there. And we even got us a little salamander right there. Gonna crack it open. There we go, check that out. Get that big rock out of there. That's really cool because now we know how well the creek chubs in the pond are doing. Look at those, some of those are absolute monsters. I was wondering because of the size of the entrance holes if we'd be able to catch any that big, but we caught quite a few. Gonna dump them back in here. All right, guys, we determined that if you have a rock to make it sink to the bottom, plastic minnow traps actually work really well. If y'all got any suggestions on what kind of trap to use next or anything you want to see compared, comment down below. Also, if you got any bait ideas that I could use, comment that down below too, and it might end up in a video. I'll catch y'all in the next one.